Hello, everybody, and welcome to the July 11th, 2023 iteration of the Kubernetes SIG-Windows community meeting. As always, these meetings are recorded and uploaded to YouTube, so be sure to adhere to the CNCF Code of Conduct. For everybody new, that's basically just be nice to everybody. This is the old one. Let's get started. In terms of announcements, only announcement is 128 code freeze is coming up. I believe that's next, earlier mid next week. Yep, I think most of the agenda is just going over everything that we are tracking or wanted to make sure we get merged for that. If anybody else has anything they'd like to announce, feel free to drop it in the chat or just speak up. Next, we will give some space if there's any new contributors that want to say hi. I think pretty much everybody on the call is new, but if anybody wants to, say hi, introduce themselves, or say anything, feel free to do so. Okay, we can get going. Arvind, looks like you added this, but I think it's pretty generic, so you can get going. Yeah, so these are some of the peers I think we'd like to see merged for 128. We can check the status of these. Most of these are ensuring that the Windows implementations of the enhancements are either working, are implemented or being tested. This one, I know we were query. This one, I believe we were. What's the status of this? I think I know that James was working on getting it so that we could run this. We could run a test pass with so that we could run a test. We had a separate test pass with some alpha features enabled. This is from this merged. Yeah, I agree that we should probably just get this merged and follow up with getting the tests running. Let's see. So, I mean, it looks like this is running. Is there any?
Yeah, I think at least no tests are failing because of adding this. We just need to do a follow-up where we have some tests where alpha features are enabled, and we need to figure out how to enable the kubelet flag, and then run it against a Windows node also. All of this is just running against Linux.
Yeah, I thought that we had something set up for running. And I know James is out, but let me see. I thought that we had a pre-submit job for this specifically. Oh no, that was for the pod autoscaler. For the node log query. Is it? I know that for the vertical pod autoscaling, James did start setting up a test pass that enables that particular feature that was in alpha. We could do the same thing and have a separate test pass that's specifically with this feature enabled, or we can just say this is the Windows cluster alpha features that we want to test for 128.
Yeah, I think we should have one test for alpha features, Mark, just to make it easier.
Yeah.
And then have two separate subtests or something like that inside.
Have you tried this, running this? Is this expected to pass on Windows nodes as long as we can get the cluster set up with the features enabled?
I haven't tried this, Mark. Is Fabian on the call? He might be able to answer that question.
Does not look like it.
Okay, yeah, he would know. I'm not 100% sure.
But I guess, yeah, we should try and get this merged as is. Does this?
It needs someone from Node.
Yeah, I'm just wondering, is there anything?
So the last message I see from Sergey is that it's gone into needs approver state.
Yeah.
Oh, it's Ryan? I can get it reviewed by Ryan.
I'll comment too, and then if you can.
So I'll just ping him and
Okay. And separately, since James is out, I can look at making sure that the test pass that we do have that enables the vertical pod auto scaling feature for the alpha cluster also enables this. This just, we just need the cube, like that. This is just a feature gate for the kubelet, correct?
you need a feature gate and a feature flag for the kubelet. You need a kubelet option set.
That should be doable, but the feature gate's not, there's no API server feature gate, right?
No, just the kubelet is good. Yeah.
Okay. Sounds good. Let's take a look at the next one. The next one, the CRI only stats. I was working on this one yesterday. So this one, I think James found some issues in container D. And they were so the tests that we were trying to add were failing. He had a PR open to not call on some transient errors. Basically, if the stats weren't, if the pod wasn't in, if the sandbox wasn't in like a ready state but was initializing, we would get an error state. I made some changes, and I know Mike and Peter, the two reviewers, everybody LGTM'd this, so hopefully this goes in soon. This was just yesterday or today, or yeah, today. So I think this one's on track, and then after that we can rerun this test, or like rerun the tests and show that this works. But at the same time, we should also start pinging try and make sure we have node reviewers aware of this, and say that the test is coming too. So has anybody from Node taken a look at this? Or is it just Windows folks for now? Okay. It looks like it's just, it looks like nobody from Node has taken a look. Let me ping. But is this? Yeah. We have the milestone set. Yeah. Okay. So I think the next steps with that are somebody from Node to take a look. I will try and add, I'll try and take this to SIG-Node, the community meeting today too, to get some more awareness on this.
Yeah, I think there was an LGTM from Peter, but it was a while back. There might have been some updates after that.
Okay. Oh, it was hidden. There's been a lot of activity. Let me do this just. This there, I only stats. Okay, so hopefully that will address that and bring it up today, give people enough time to review it this week. Next is the VPA. This one, I know Fabi was working on it too. This is the one that I know James was working on with the alpha feature, test pass. I don't know what the status of this was. Set a Windows specific test pass in place. Okay. I don't exactly know what this means. Does this mean that the tests are working? I mean, the tests are running, but the feature's not working for Windows? I'll probably. Let's look at, we can come back to this one later, or possibly for this one, I think I'm going to start a thread on Slack and include Fabian to see what's needed for that one. CRI. What's the status of this one? Did this get closed? We not. Oh, interesting. So let me check to see if there's a different one open for this. Okay, I think we need to hear from the author of this. Who? Wait, so I still don't. I still don't understand exactly how this one got closed. But that's a different issue. And then unit test PRs. There's a bunch of those. I know I pinged Claudio on a couple of them to see what the next steps were. I think a lot of those are just waiting for other SIGs to review. Let's see what else is on the agenda, then we can look at those. Okay, you want to talk about this one too, Arvind?
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure that we are on track to do this. I've never done this before, so I'm not sure. I guess you haven't either, right, Mark? This is new, net new, right?
So we've always needed to submit the maintainer track.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Changed some of the requirements, and I think now what they're saying is it's no longer essentially guaranteed that the maintainer the maintainer series talks are going to be accepted. But I think that there was some questions about that, and it seems like there likely still are. Well, I'll start a thread on Slack right after this. But I guess so. Normally for the maintainer track talks, there's a format that we've kind of been following, and that's usually give some project updates, do a deep dive on one or possibly like two specific technologies or things that we've been working on. So for example, in Amsterdam, there was a deep dive on the SIG-Windows dev tools and the work to get the different processor platforms working. And then after that, there's usually some highlights of some of the work that we're working on, and talking about some of the kind of the either like the interesting technical problems that we've ran into or solving them and things like that. If anybody has any, suggestions or things that they'd like to talk about, especially for that middle part for the deep dive, maybe we can spend a couple minutes discussing that now, gather some ideas.
Would the CRI stats qualify for that?
I don't, that's less kind of Windows specific. So that like the CRI stats is mostly just making sure that we're, getting the right data from the HCS for the Windows, like in Containerd and reporting that up. So if there's anything that's more kind of core or like Windows specific, that might be a little bit better one. But if not, that could be a good candidate too. I think that's something that we should definitely highlight, that like the work that's coming on. I know, Jay, you've talked about KPNG a little bit before. Do you think that some of the Windows, the Win kernel proxy or like work might be interesting for that? Because before the updates that you were given were, I think, kind of general to the KPNG architecture, but I think now, especially with the PRs that I've seen open in the repository, that's all like Windows specific.
Yeah, I mean, we should ask Damon to do one this year for us. I think I could help him with that. I will be in Europe at the time, so I definitely can't do KubeCon this year, Chicago. And last time I tried and I failed to make it, so I don't want to fail making it again. But I'll help in the background.
Okay.
Let me know if you want to do the Windows Service Proxy, and I can help organize that and get it all. Get Damon on board with it, and then, I think that'll be a good. Yeah, I think that'll be really interesting.
Yeah. So Jay, last time I couldn't go to the conference either, but Mark and James ended up, and I think Amin was there also. I sent them a recording of the of the node log viewer stuff, and they just showed it there. So that's the another option you can follow.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Mark, why don't you do this then? Whoever's giving the talk, whether it's you, Arvin, or Mark, or whoever, I don't know who's giving it. It's not going to be me. Whoever's doing it, let me know if you want to do Windows Service Proxy section. Let us know, and I think it'd be great to see if, well, at the very least, we'll give you a recording. But I think we can. I think Damon might be down to do it also. But either way, we'll have it, one way or other. Just let me know, sleep on it, and just yell at me, and that'll be awesome. Yeah.
I'll start a thread in Slack right after the SIG node meeting, unless Arvin, you want to start one before then to collect some ideas. Because we do need to put together like the same CFP where there's the synopsis and what we're going to talk about too. And then we can also ask it like who wants, discuss who wants to attend or who wants to give the talk.
Yeah, that's perfect. And you know what's even an easier idea? Me and Damon were going to do like this week or next week an actual deep dive walkthrough of it, maybe put a read the docs up inside the Windows Service Proxy thing. Maybe we'll just do that so that the content is already there and we can republish it wherever we want, including KubeCon. Maybe this is just a good motivation for us to do that. Okay, cool.
Yeah. Okay, I think we'll drive the rest of this agenda item in Slack then.
Awesome.
Does anybody else have anything they'd like to discuss part of the agenda today?
I don't have anything. Oh, Pramita and I see Pramita's here. Pramita and Tol Kowant and their friend, I forgot, we kind of spec'd out a plan for getting the operational readiness to something that actually people can really use. And we filed a bunch of issues in the operational readiness repo that we're starting to tackle and carve up. And me and Pramita are going to focus on the stuff that's related to networking and DNS and stuff or whatever. And then the rest of the EKS crew is going to focus on things related to the other tests and things related to storage and so on and so forth. So if somebody wants to help us with that, let us know. It's the whole idea of making something like Windows conformance.
Okay, so in the agenda, I say like,
Go to the Windows operational readiness repo and let us know if you want to. Yeah, cool.
yeah, specifically you're looking for people to help out.
Yeah. To just grab an issue and run with it. Like nobody's looking at Active Directory and so but we'll get there. Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
So whatever. Thanks to the EKS team and thanks to Pramita for helping to revitalize that stuff.
Okay, yeah, it looks like a bunch of these are really recent, so that's good.
Yeah, talking about EKS, Jay, you had tagged us on an issue.
Oh yeah.
Do you need us to do something there, or is just
Oh.
FYI?
Just FYI. So,
Okay.
Well, it turns out that something I learned that might be interesting is that EKS CNI does not start Windows pods unless the nodes in the cluster are labeled as node kubernetes.io equals Windows. Like the CNI will refuse to start the pod. And like the reason is because I think there's some kind of an admission controller or something that if it's a Windows pod, it puts like a VPC ID or something on there. And so it's
IP.
Yeah.
IP address.
Yeah. So we're like looking at it and we're like, well, what should we do here? From an E2E testing perspective, I think there's going to be a bunch of tests that we need to make it so all those replication controllers and things like that, once you go into the SIG network tests that aren't part of the horizontal pods and all that shit that we run, that's fine. We've already fixed that. But I think there's a bunch of SIG network tests that work great on Windows. It's just that you need, right, Pramita, like you ran it on vSphere and it worked, right? So
Yes.
yeah, so we're just gonna need to and now I got confused because I'm like, now we got this pod OS field. So I'm like, do we
Yeah.
Is this a thing that we just need to get our EKS friends to not do that anymore? Or is this a thing where we should go and update the Kubernetes end-to-end tests to proactively annotate kubernetes.io/Windows? I don't know what to do.
Why don't you add a note to the agenda to that for this too with some of the details since we're discussing this? I think that let me drop a link. I think that'd be helpful.
I'll yeah.
And that's very interesting.
Yeah, so what I don't understand, Jay, is don't you need to taint the node? Or are you saying the node is not tainted either?
Wait, yeah, is it the node doesn't run it, or the pods that are coming in also need to have a label select or a label selector for?
It's that the node doesn't start the pod, and the reason the node doesn't start the pod is because that label isn't on there.
So wait, you're saying that the pod lands on the Windows host?
Oh, cool. He just adds pods need to have the OS node selector. Yeah.
Yeah, but that's common, right? Otherwise, how will you make sure that a Linux pod doesn't?
It's the recommended. That's the recommended practice for scheduling Windows pods, and we do document that. But the way that we get around, the way that the EDE tests work, is we specifically don't set node selectors unless we know we're doing a hybrid test that runs on Windows and Linux nodes, so that the same test can, it's assumed that
Yeah.
for some of the tests that all of the nodes in the cluster, like at least all of the worker nodes, are the same OS, so that we can run the same tests on Windows and Linux without having to enlighten like the EDE test framework.
Oh, I see. And so you have something that ensures that the pods don't land on the control plane node, which will be Linux.
Yeah, I think that we taint the control plane nodes usually with a control plane like no schedule taint.
Okay.
And then some of the Windows tests that specifically need to do like the hybrid network tests, we schedule a pod with no OS node selector, and then we schedule another. No, I think for that one we do put the OS node selector on it specifically, but we also make sure that the Linux.
Yeah, that used to break on EKS. That was like when I joined SIG-Windows like 2 years ago. The first thing I did is try that, and that test failed on EKS. And yeah.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Could let's just make sure we capture some of that in the agenda too.
Yeah. So and part of this, so I gotta we gotta think through what we want to do here.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's not a huge deal, but we'll get there because we're working with the EKS team pretty closely, and they're on top of it with us. But yeah,
I've got to drop for the SIG node meeting, especially to talk about some of the try and get some reviews too. So, I guess I'll end the meeting. You guys can stay on the call if you want.
Yeah.
But yeah, attending. Stop recording.